and welcome to this new Emgu CV tutorial. And in many applications we need to select the ROIs, region of interest, from images. And today I will show you how we can use our mouse to select the ROIs from images. And in next tutorial we will see how we can use these ROIs to do processing on that region and embed them back into the image. So let's get started. I'm going to create a new project in Visual Studio 2019. I'm interested in a Windows Forms application, so we can write Windows Forms, and I'm going to create a Windows Forms app using .NET Framework. So I can write it like Emgu CV demo and click on create. So we have the Windows Forms application. So I just want to design this application in a little bit different way so that I will reuse this project for future tutorials. Plus, I will be able to perform different sort of operations like a software or different functions on my image and see those results. So let me design it, and I might need a menu strip first. I am going to drag and drop a menu strip, and then I will use a table layout panel. And in this table layout panel, I just want to remove the last row so that I have just one row with two columns. Sorry, 20% of the size, and 20% of the size, the first column, and the second column I want it to be 80%. And we can also dock it to the parent. So I'm just going to select the dock and select the middle button to dock it to the parent, so that the images that I want to display should be on the right side, and I just want to display their information, which images are present right now. And here I can use a tree view also to display information about my images. So here is a tree view, and maybe I just want to use a panel, say it dock to the inside it. I just want to drag and drop another panel and make a size something like this, and then drag and drop a tree view, and I just want to dock to the parent. So in this tree view I will display the names of the images. So when I click on those images, I will be able to see those images right here. And I also need a panel, and on the right side of this table layout, in a dock to the parent, and inside it I can put a picture box in it. And this picture box can also be docked to the parent. Or one more thing that I just want to do is, for the parent panel here, I just want to turn on this auto scroll on, so that if my image is big, it should be able to scroll in it. So that's it. And now what I want to do is to store the information of these. Maybe I can write, here is the file. Okay, and maybe just I want to make it right now exit, and to select the ROI I can do something like let's say process, and inside process ROI, and in this process ROI I can say select ROI, and then here we will be then able to select the region of interest that we want. So the design is okay. So when I click on this select ROI, we should be able to set the ROI of the image, and maybe we can show that part of the image. So let's go to the code, and of course before starting any project or before you start working with the Emgu CV, you need to install the Emgu CV, and I will recommend using the Nuget Package Manager. So right click on that and go to manage Nuget packages, and here you can click on the browse and you can search for Emgu CV. So when you write the Emgu CV, you will see a variety of Emgu CV, but you must look at the version. So when I come down here, you will see here Emgu CV, and it's 4.2.0.3662. So I'm just going to select this latest stable version, and I'm going to install it in my project. And click on I accept. So the Visual Emgu CV is installed inside my Visual Studio's project. Now I will be able to use the Emgu CV. So the first thing that we need to do is to use emgu.cv namespace, and another namespace that I need emgu.cv.structures. So these two are basically the basic data structures are defined in it. So after installing the Emgu CV, one more thing that I want to bring into your attention is one of the most important part is with 4.2.0 now onwards, the native packages for Windows are not available with the part of the standard Emgu CV. So if you look here, we must also install the emgu.cv.runtime Windows package. This is a separate package that contains the native DLL for Windows as well as the Emgu CV user interface DLL for Windows when targeting .NET platform 4.6.1 plus. So we also, if you need to work it on in the Windows, you just need to install this package also. This is basically contains the native DLLs for the Windows specifically. So I'm also, apart from the Emgu CV, I forgot to add it, so I'm just going to manage NuGet packages. So copy this directly and go to NuGet packages and paste it here, and you will find the emgu.cv.runtime.windows, and it is this latest 4.2, and I'm going to install that as well. And click on I accept, and it has installed it successfully. So now we can use the Emgu CV with and it's available completely for us. So I'm going to the code, and now instead of just creating an input image, I want to keep information about many of the images. Maybe I will do the I take the input image and produce the output, and I want to save all those in some sort of a data structure. So the data structure that I'm going to use today is the dictionary. So this dictionary, basically we can use a string sort of key to store the name or for the key for the image, and then I'll be using this image, maybe RGB images. I want to store RGB images and whose depth will be byte, and I call it them IMG list. So this is just like a database of my images. And I also need some sort of other some variables for drawing my ROI using the mouse. So I'm just going to write them here. I need a rectangle, so I just call it a rect. And I also need, for example, an integer or a point to store information about the starting point and the ending point where I need to select the rectangle. So just I can call them select start point, or I should say ROI here. Start ROI and ROI. You can give any name, that is not important. And also we can say bool selecting, I should say selecting selecting whether are we right now selecting something or not. So this rectangle will be my rectangle that I'm going to draw, that I will be using as ROI, and then some further points and some boolean to indicate if I am going to select some information or not. So maybe in the initializer what I can do, selecting should be equal to false. Initially we are not selecting anything, so it is better to use this constructor, and the rectangle we can initialize it rectangle dot empty. So we just create nothing is inside it, or maybe we can set it to null, and there is no need of anything else. So the first and the foremost that I just want to do is, instead of exit, I should say open first. Maybe later we can do exit. So double click on open, and here you must use this try catch, because without try catch your program will crash. So I'm just showing the message in a message box in case if I have any issues with my code, or if my code throws an exception. So the first thing that we want is to ask the user is to select an image. So I just call it, we use the open file dialog and open this dialog object, and I usually use this if condition to make sure that the user has selected an image. So we will show the dialog to the user by using show dialog, and if user has selected something or not, we can use something like this dialog result dot okay. It means that the user is able to select an image. Now we are ready to load that image into some variable, and I can say it like a variable img is equal to, here you can also directly load into our dictionary list, im list, but just I'm going to show you how we can do it. New image, it should be a bgr image we are expecting, and depth is in bytes, and here we can provide the path that has been selected by the user. So dialog dot file name. Okay, once we read the image, the selected image, into the img, I just want to add it into the img list. So img list dot add. So what it is expecting is two things. So the first thing is the key. What key do we want to use to read the image? So I'm saying that this is my input image. So, and then the image is img. So I put the image that I have read into my RGB image. Sorry, it should be a BGR image. I made a mistake, that's why it is saying. So this is the BGR. The order is blue first, green, and red. So we can show it in picture box 1 dot image is equal to img dot as bitmap. So if you do not install the, remember that if you do not install the, as I shown you, the runtime for Windows, you will not be able to get this as bitmap image. So you will be surprised to see why it is not available. So maybe instead of just adding the images like this into my dictionary, I should display them by using a function. So let me create a function, and this function will also display the name of the image in my this tree view, as well as it will add it into my dictionary. So just I can create an image like, if I create a method like private void add image, and in this side image we are expecting some image and a bgr image with the depth of bytes, and we just call this img, and we also need a string, that is the key name that we need to provide. What should be the name to add into the image? The first thing that I want to check is if it is if my tree contains such a key or not. So if not, tree node tree view 1 dot nodes, its nodes should not contain any tree view, contains my key name. If it contains a key name, then I should be able to just update it. Otherwise it should insert it contains key name. contains key, I should say, because we are looking for the dot contains key, we are looking for the key value. If it does not contain the three key values, then we can create a new node. I call it the node is equal to a new node for my tree to display, and I use this key name is the name for my node, and I said node dot name. Sometimes it also creates some problem for me, so I need to write it like this, although it should have given it a name, but name is important to find out if the key contains a node with that name or not. And then key tree v1 dot nodes dot add. I want to add this node. Okay, the new node is added, and we want this new node to be tree dot selected node is equal to this node. So we want to show that the newly added node is selected. And another thing that I want, so far I have just added, this one is just added a new node into my tree. So I want to add it into my image list. If not, image list dot contains key. Here also I am checking if there is no key with the same name, I can create a new, insert it into the list. So image list dot add, and here I'm just going to provide the key name is my key, and the image that has been sent will be added. So this is just making sure that in the dictionary I don't have any other image with the same key name, otherwise it will throw an error. If I have anything like that earlier in my list, maybe I can update that one. So I can say that image list of the key name, because we are using the key name as the index here, so I image. So that's it. So for now I will be calling this function from everywhere to add a new node in my tree if I do some processing and I want to see it, and also show it in the image list. You will see its application now. So here, instead of this line, I'm just going to add image, and the first thing it is expecting an image, and the second thing is the key name. So I just call it input because this is just the input image. So let me run this application first and see what actually I have achieved so far. So let me open an image and select a folder, and inside an image, and maybe I can select. So let me select an image. Object reference not set to an I am really made a mistake, because I must have created an object of my dictionary inside my new form. Okay, so this is important because we are using this object. So inside the constructor I created its object. So let us see. And now I'm going to open an image, and which image? Okay, buildings image. It looks absolutely fine. So this is what I wanted. So one more thing that I want to do is whenever I open a new image, I just want to make my image list dot clear. I just want to show the images, the different outputs of the images on the same input. Now for the second thing, I just want my picture box, and how can we show the ROI of my image. So let's see how we can do that. So the first thing that I want to do is when I click on select ROI, so what I want to do, the first thing is that we have created some variables here. You can see selecting, and also I need the down, mouse down. So I want to start selecting is equal to true. That's what I just want to do. So selecting is equal to true. And the next thing that I want to do is we need to implement two methods, or in fact three methods. So I will be clicking on the mouse here, down, and then dragging it and then up. So down, move, and up. So in the down, I want to keep the information about the starting point, and then moving, I will draw the rectangle, and then where I left the mouse, that is the up. So for this picture box, I need to go to these events. One first thing that I am interested is mouse down event. So I double click on that mouse down, and here what I want to do is, if my selecting is equal to true, which will be true once I click on the select ROI, what I want to do is down, key down is equal to mouse down is equal to true. It means if my mouse is down and if I am selecting, so when I reach this down event, it means I have clicked on my mouse down, so mouse down is true. And the starting location of ROI will be the same as the mouse down location, so so that's it. So I just grabbed the starting location where I clicked. For example, I just click on down here, and then I will move it. Now I need to implement the mouse move event. So when mouse move, inside it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check if selection is true or not. If it is still selecting, what I need to do is to, here we can find the width of the rectangle. So I'm just going to do, to make it possible to draw in any directions, doesn't matter whether the mouse is going in the upward direction or downward. So what I'm going to do, maths.x start.x or e.x, whichever is the maximum, we will select it and find the difference between the minimum between start of ROI.x and let me do something like this, and e.x, whichever is the minimum, we just find the difference, and this will give us the width. And similarly we can also use it for the y, so that we can find the height of the rectangle to draw it. And actually this rectangle will be used to find the ROI, so this is important. Height. So we know the location of the start, and now where our mouse will be. So E will give us that information. So wherever we drag the mouse, we get the width and the height. We know the start point. Now we can simply create the rectangle. So rectangle is equal to new rectangle, and here we can provide the x, y locations. And again, for this x and y locations, you must remember that we need the maximum or the minimum of this one. So you can imagine that which one is the minimum. So I will also write this one here. For the starting point, whichever is the minimum, we will select that. And similarly for the y, we also find the minimum of the y, and then we give the width for this rectangle and also height. I just write it like this. Okay, so we just created the rectangle with wherever the minimum position of the x and y is, and then width and the height. Now this is now the problem is, it's enough for us to see the rectangle, but we have not yet drawn the rectangle. So to refresh for every rectangle to be drawn again, I will use refresh and use another method using this rectangle information, I will draw it, but not here. There is another method which we call it the paint method for this rectangle. So I'm just going to this paint method, double click on that. I have the information of my rectangle. I just need to draw it. So here what I will do is I will check the condition. If my mouse is down, then I will draw it, right? So that's why I use this. If my mouse is down, then I should be able to draw it. I'm going to using statement here. What we can do, we can use a pen. Okay, pen is equal to which pen you want to use. So it is just like a pen, and just give it a color. Color dot maybe a red one is okay for me, and width is 3 is okay for me. And then inside you can draw it on the graphics. So we will be using the graphics, whichever the graphics object we have. We want to draw a rectangle, and this rectangle needs a pen object and a rectangle, the rectangle which we have already defined. So this paint will draw our rectangle. The mouse move will give us the coordinates of the rectangle, and the mouse down will give us the starting point from where we want to start. And when we will stop it, and to stop it we need this mouse up information. So we are going in the mouse up. Here I just want to check, are we still selecting or not? If it is selecting, what we need to do, so the only thing that I just want to say is we are no more selecting because the mouse is up now, so we should say false. And also mouse down is false, no more mouse is down, so that it will not continue drawing, because everywhere you can see that we are using, when mouse down is not there, then it will no more point. And also this is the latest rectangle that we want to use it. So the net effect is like this. So let's look at an example. I'm going to select a new image, and let me select the building image itself. And also I just want to, now if I go and drag and drop whatever, I cannot do anything. I just say select ROI and then start drawing here. Oh, absolutely great. So now we just draw the mouse. Now it will not draw it because I just want to draw one rectangle right now. And this is what I want to show it as ROI. I just want to display in another image with, let's say, ROI. So how we can do that? We just know the information of this rectangle, and now we need to crop it or get this area of the rectangle. So how can we do that? It is quite simple. So the next thing that I'm going to add is a get region of ROI, let's say. So I just want to get that region. I'm just double clicking on that, and here I just want to make sure that I don't have any issues. So I'm just using try catch so that my program will not stop executing or crashing out. So the first thing that I need to check is if my image has some sort of if my picture box has some image or not. So how can I do that? Picture box dot image equals null. It means I have not selected anything yet. Then I should just return. Else I have an image, and also if my rectangle is not equal to rectangle.empty, or I should say if is equals, then I should also return. I'm not doing anything. So it means that I have a picture and I also have selected an ROI. Then I can now do the processing on it. What I need to do is I can read whatever the image I have in my currently displayed picture box. I will read that image, and then using the ROI, crop that area and display it again. So how we will do that? Go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to read the image from my picture box, not from my image list. So I'm saying a variable of any type is equal to image new bitmap, because the API has changed for 4.2, so I just first create a new bitmap image from my picture box. So I say picturebox1 dot image. Okay, and then I can convert it into an image to image. So I can have a structure like information of this image in my Emgu CV. So BGR, I wanted to convert it into BGR and then bytes. So this is how I read the image from my picture box. So once I have the image, now I am interested in setting its ROI. So this ROI is equal to rectangle, the rectangle which we have selected previously using the mouse. And now once I have the image, now I can copy this one into a new image. So let's say variable, I'm creating an image with ROI is equal to my img.copy. So that's it. The very important point here is one thing I will also do for the original image. Img rectangle dot empty. So what I'm doing, this is the magic that I'm doing. The first thing is that we selected the ROI for our original image. So whichever ROI, that rectangle we have selected, now once we have the selected ROI, the copy function will only select the image inside that ROI. So that is the basic magic, the combination of these two lines. So once we have the rectangle set or the ROI set region of interest set for an image, and once it is set and we use the copy, so the copy function will only copy that region of interest into my ROI, img ROI variable, and so this one is only containing that part of the image. So let us display it. Instead of displaying in my, I will display it in my picture box. So I can use my add method function which I have, where I created this one. This one will add it into my this one will add this one into my list tree view, and also I will show it here. So let us show it here first. Picture box, so picture box one dot image is equal to img ROI, and now you can see that there is no any bitmap property. So indeed we have to bitmap or as bitmap function you can use, so it will convert into whichever you want. But in order to use to bitmap or as bitmap, you must install, as I mentioned, that the Windows specific DLLs, and that's what we said, wincv.runtime.windows. Now we display the image, and I just want to add it into my the database also. So ROI database means in my list, and I just calling it ROI image, and that's it. So let's run the application and see the output. So I'm going to select an image, and this is going to be an ROI image, and I'm going to select an ROI. Let's say I just selected this portion of the ROI. Now I am going to get region of ROI and display it, so you can see only that region of the ROI has been displayed. Okay, that's great. And now what I want, when I click on my input, I want to show the input image, and when I click on ROI, that is the reason I just designed the application. So how can we do that? I will also show you now. So we can do that and just go to this tree view, and in the properties we have, there is a property mouse clicked, node mouse clicked here, and inside here what I just want to do is first make sure that we don't have any problems. Message box ex.message, and here what I want to do, whichever the node has been selected, I want to display that node. So picturebox.image is equal to img list, and inside list which we want to display is whichever has been clicked here. So I can say that e.node.text. So we, as you know, that we use this text as the key. So whichever the text has been selected, we are using that text as the key, and as bitmap you can use it, and just that's it. So now when we go back and do some processing, finally it should look like something like this. So I'm open and then click on an image, and we have the input, and we can also select ROI, and let's say I just selected this portion of the image, and then I said let us get region of interest. So you can see this is the only image that we have selected, and when I click input I can see the input, and when I see the ROI I can also see the ROI. So mostly in many of the softwares, as you can see, we are doing a number of operations on our image, and we need to keep information about all those processes or outputs. So that is the reason I just used this list of images. Although if there are big images it will be a problem, because in memory we are keeping many of the images, but for right now it is not a big problem for us. And also we can delete this end ROI, I didn't use it, but mouse down I have used it here. So that's it from me, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in next video.